What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining and at bare minimum considering. My name is Anomaly. You can check out my website at legendary.vision. It has all my social media there. I'm going to wait about 5 more seconds for people to get into the live stream. Then I'm going to begin about a topic that is pressing America right now is gun control. After every mass shooting, we have a big push of should we crank down on guns, gun control, etc., etc. And I'm here to say my piece on it. So now that some people are coming in, I want to first off say God bless the victims and the families or anybody involved in the Las Vegas shooting. It was the biggest mass shooting in American history, at least in modern history. It's very unfortunate, very terrible, and that's the most important thing is, tending to the families and the victims. So first off, God bless about this. But now on to gun control, because I see Twitter, Instagram, all of my social media, you have comedians like Michael Ian Black. Well, I guess I don't know if he's funny or not, but I guess that's what it says in his bio. He's a comedian, whatever, saying the NRA is a terrorist organization. You have politicians saying immediately, they didn't even give it a day, saying we need to crack down on gun control. This is what we need to do. This is going to help. So the question here is further gun control going to actually help save lives? And I'm going to tackle this from a bunch of different angles. First of all, there's Harvard studies, there's many studies that show and prove that very strict gun control laws do not equal less deaths and more safety. It's just a fact. I understand everyone's emotions are, someone just died via a gun. Let's take everyone's guns away. Let's go get a bunch of guns. That should help. But the reality of the situation is more gun control in many states doesn't equal more safety. A criminal is a criminal. They're going to be able to purchase a gun, get it from another state, regardless of the gun control laws, because they're not following the laws. You could crack down the laws. They're going to find a way to get a gun. In the case of the Las Vegas shooter, this was a multi-millionaire that owned multiple planes, was like a real estate mogul. I'm going to get into that later because that whole situation is extremely sketchy, but this guy was a multi-millionaire. Do you really think, Michael Ian Black and all of the people, Ariana Grande, who had a terror attack at her concert where multiple people died via explosion, and she said nothing about explosions, she said nothing about that type of terrorism, but she says we need more gun control. Do you really think Ariana Grande and the, gun control crowd right now, do you really think that a multi-millionaire is not going to be able to get guns if he wants to? Regardless of how strict the gun laws are, this guy's a multi-millionaire with multiple planes. I have something unfortunate to tell you. If you have tens of millions of dollars or millions of dollars, you're going to be able to get what you want, unfortunately, because that's the society we live in. Money talks, and it's not going to be hard for you to get those type of weapons if you have that type of money. Just being honest, just being real. I also want to say in Nice, there was a big terror attack that involved a car that killed, I believe, 81 people. Now, nobody then said we got to take cars off the road. Nobody then said, hey, we got to look at that type of terrorism. The same people screaming gun control now, they bend over backwards for other type of terror attacks and say, hey, don't offend people, don't offend people, don't offend people. And then they're saying that gun control is going to help. I'm just going to be honest. Personally, I don't like guns. I'm not a huge gun fan, but I support the Second Amendment. Very strictly I support it because it was put there in place for many reasons, but I believe the biggest reason is to stop government tyranny. That's why the Second Amendment was put into place, and in many ways that could be helping us greatly now, and it could have helped us over the past 100 years. Who knows? We don't know, because we've always had the Second Amendment, and if we didn't, things could be a lot different. And I want to say too, also, the gun control people, I put a tweet about it, I put a post about it. Don't you think we should trust our government first before we let them take all our guns away? To me, that's just common sense. Let's take a look at our government before we call, hey, we need them to take guns away. First of all, the same politicians that are screaming gun control, they didn't even wait 24 hours. They're screaming, hey, we need to get these guns ASAP. Let's take some guns. These are the same politicians that say nothing about the obesity problem. Obesity kills approximately, roughly, possibly 300,000 people a year. Heart disease definitely kills 600,000 people a year. Guns, while I agree there's way too many deaths, there's way too much gun violence, I don't personally think that people should be able to buy snipers and automatic rifles and machine guns. I think there should be better laws on that if there aren't already. But I will say, these politicians that care about the 10,000 gun deaths and we want to save lives so bad, once again, that's way too many. I want to lower that number. They say nothing about the pharmacy industry that kills 100,000 people a year. Prescription pills kill 10 times, at least 10 times as many people as guns do. And these same politicians that are screaming for, we need to take your guns, we need to save lives, they take millions of dollars from the pharmacy industry. So do they really care about lives, or is there a political agenda at foot? Common sense tells me, well, they're colluding with, food companies and drug companies that are responsible for 600,000-700,000 deaths a year, and they say nothing about the biggest killers in America, heart disease, which is a really sad way to go, especially when we're such a privileged, wealthy nation, very avoidable in many situations. They say nothing about that. So, first of all, that's a number one red flag, and let's look at what our government's been doing over the past 15, 20 years and think rationally, do we want to let them take our guns just yet? Just throwing it out there. In the past 10 years, our government has overthrown multiple countries. You can argue whether it was a good idea, a bad idea, it was justified, it wasn't justified, but the fact is, we've done it. We've killed multiple presidents or leaders of countries. Saddam Hussein, dead by our government. Gaddafi in Libya, dead by our government. And it's a fact now in Libya, there's literal slavery, a literal, physical, actual slave trade that exists in Libya today based on things that we were involved in. So once again, we have a country that's getting involved in Syria. They tried to overthrow the president of Syria. There's many reports saying that multiple politicians were involved in building and manufacturing a civil war in Ukraine. It looks like that same media conglomerate and, politician clan is manufacturing or trying to manufacture a civil war and division in the United States now. So, just realistically, rationally, is this a good time to let them take away the guns? I'm just not feeling it. Even as someone who doesn't like guns, I want to save lives. I think it's terrible what happened in Las Vegas, but is stricter gun control going to stop a mass attack? Because the truth of this situation is, no matter how much you hate guns, I don't think that machine guns should be able to be purchased. I don't think that massive, guns that can just have a clip or, whatever it is that has hundreds of things that just automatic, I don't think those should be sold to the public. So yes, I'll agree with you there. But there has to be a certain line that you don't cross to say, hey, we got to take all this stuff away because it could be disastrous. I do believe in the Second Amendment, and I do believe that makes us a more powerful country. If another country was to invade the United States, they have to deal with the fact that the citizens have weapons themselves. The government can only do so much because the citizens have weapons themselves. And we have a government that cannot really be trusted to this point, to the, all of the stuff they're doing. And once again, the same politicians that are calling for this, they don't care about anything. So I find it a little odd that all of a sudden they really care about lives, because they don't care about lives virtually anywhere. But now all of a sudden it's a big deal. So that's my question, is this going to actually save lives? There's a lot of emotion, and that seems to be where we're losing ourselves in the United States. We have a lot of division because there's one side that's all filled with emotion, Literally, when I have a conversation with brilliant people, smart people, people that have PhDs and college degrees, I can't even have a rational conversation anymore. And I'm willing to compromise. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be like, yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. They shouldn't have machine guns. I agree with you there. But there is no conversation to be had because it's all emotion. You have people on Twitter, celebrities calling the NRA a terrorist organization. And then you have one side that has facts like, hey, I'm just going to throw it out there in, cities like Chicago, they have strict gun laws and they have one of the worst gun problems. That's just a fact. But facts don't matter when emotions and politicians and the media sources manipulate people's emotions. And that's totally what's happening. And let's not forget, when I'm talking about, hey, can politicians be trusted to take our guns? Let's talk about the media sources, because this election, if people are just joining, or maybe you know, maybe you don't know, I don't know where people miss this part, but almost the whole media, besides maybe Fox News and, Breitbart, and I don't even read either of those two. If you do, that's great. If you don't, that's great. I don't care what you do. I'm just personally saying I don't. But the fact is, all of the media, besides maybe Breitbart and Fox News, they colluded this whole election, and they didn't collude just against Donald Trump. They didn't collude just against the right-wing people. They colluded against everybody. Ron Paul never existed. I'm not talking about this election, the last election. Rand Paul didn't exist. Bernie Sanders didn't exist. The whole election was literally staged. So you have a media and politician, government entity rigging elections. Literally, it's open now. It's 100% confirmed. I knew this was happening already, but now with the documents that have been revealed and 100% confirmed that they're real, they cheated Bernie Sanders in every way possible. The media colluded for Hillary Clinton. Facebook was colluding with Hillary Clinton. Google was colluding with Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump. Even NBC finally published, oh, Donald Trump is right. He only gets 5% positive news about him. I'm someone that's very spiritual. I could care less about who the president is. I could care less about conservative, progressive. Those are just labels that mean nothing to me. But from a spiritual standpoint, is 5% positive, 5% positive energy, is that ever a good thing? So you have a news source, which is one of the most toxic news sources, admitting, oh yeah, he's right, he only gets 5% positive news. That means that up to 95% of it, unless they're saying, oh, well, 30% is like half and half, that's 95% negative news, negative energy blasted onto the country. You have so much negative energy being blasted right now, so much division. There's no discussion, there's no Second Amendment, there's no this, there's no that. It's all hate the flag, literally, hate your country, don't support it. So quickly they're going, oh, that's bad, conservatives are bad, these people are deplorable, the Confederate flag is bad, you're not allowed to post it. Okay, that's fine. But now it's just shifted in 2 weeks. Oh, well, now the American flag's bad. It went from, oh, make America great again, that's racist because America was never great. It was always a racist country. Okay, you have that. Now it's changed to, not only was America never great, first during the election they said, America was never great, it's great now. What do you mean make it great again? It's great now. It wasn't great in the past. And now they've changed their tune to, America was never great before and it's not great now. I mean, they're trying to drag our entire country down, and these are the people that are trying to take people's guns. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not exaggerating. This is what's happening. These news sources, they're blasting negative energy. They're lying to you about virtually everything. So I would say, even in an event like this, be very respectful, being very fair, be very considerate, but question everything. Question everything, because this same media conglomerate that controls the minds of the majority of the population and the majority of the world, not just this country, they openly admitted that they rigged and cheated this entire election, colluding also now with social media, with the COO of Facebook. I mean, clearly Twitter is completely rigged. You're not going to find a decent, honest story on there as far as the featured section. Google, Eric Schmidt and his new company Alphabet colluded with Hillary Clinton. And these are the people that are the quickest to say, hey, let me take your guns. So is that a trustworthy entity that they're silencing Rand Paul, silencing Bernie Sanders, silencing and hating on Donald Trump, putting all negative energy towards them, not allowing conservatives and libertarians and progressives to have a platform and have a discussion about what's important, not allowing Jill Stein, the third party, to just even talk and say her piece. This is happening. So do you want to give these people your guns in America? To me, that's a no-brainer. It's common sense. No, I don't like gun violence, but statistically, just off the stats, I'm not making this up. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a whatever. Statistics say that gun control doesn't equal less gun violence. That's just the facts. That's just the stats. Criminals aren't going to follow the law. They're criminals. So are you going to be able to stop a multi-millionaire psychopath who has multiple planes and millions of dollars in real estate? Are you going to be able to stop him from getting guns? No, I'm sorry, you're not. If a psychopath wants to get in a truck and run over 50 people at any time, they can literally do that. I'm sorry, it's just a fact. I don't personally like guns. I don't want there to be machine guns out. I don't want there to be automatic rifles. To be honest, I wish there were no weapons at all. I hate weapons. I don't like guns. I don't like bombs. I don't like planes. I like planes as far as travel, but I don't like weapons. I'm not a gun-touting Republican conservative stereotype that, you want to paint everyone. I'm just an honest person. I don't like weapons. I wish there were none. But if there were no weapons, the truth is, if somebody is a psychopath and they want to kill somebody, they're going to do it at any time. They could just get in a car and kill more people than they can with a gun. They could get with 5 people and mow down 200 people on a crowded corner. It's happening all over Europe, and nobody cares. Ariana Grande doesn't care. Michael Ian Black doesn't care. The Sarah Silvermans and the Chelsea Handlers don't care. It's happening in Europe. They don't have guns there, so they're using cars to mow down people because that's what you do if you're a radicalized psychopath. And I don't care what religion, race, or gender you are. You have half of liberal America, for lack of a better term. They're more concerned with coining this white man a terrorist than they are with what's actually happening. Go ahead. Call him a terrorist. I don't care. Yeah, he's a terrorist. Who told you he wasn't? That's like the whole debate now. They're like, well, he's not. He's a terrorist. It's like, shut up. Call him what you want. It's just a word. That's the problem with the one side of the debate. They're more concerned with words than they are actions. They're more concerned with emotions than they are facts. That's not a liberal. That's not liberalism. That's idiocy. That's being a moron. If you're not allowed to have a conversation and you let the mainstream media program and control your mind to think in one direction, you're not a liberal, you're not a hero, you're not saving lives, you're hurting people because you can't have a back and forth conversation. So to sum it up, in my personal opinion, I don't like weapons. I'm not a gun-touting Republican. I'm not even a Republican. I've never voted Republican. I don't consider myself conservative. I just don't like titles. I am what I am. I don't think there should be automatic weapons and massive amounts of ammo. I've been in states where I've seen people have arsenals, and I'm like, that's a little ridiculous. I don't think people should have that. I agree with you there. But as far as cracking down on gun control, the question is, will it be effective? It's not what do I feel, what do I want. It's not about me. It's not about you. I'm sorry. I know the news lied to you. Maybe, they lied to you in school when they gave you a trophy for coming in last place, but it's not about you. It's not about me. I'm grateful every day to wake up because I know it's not guaranteed. Life is a blessing. We should be appreciative. We should be grateful. We should not be hateful and be, oh, I want. It's not about that. It's about what's really going to work. So regardless of my feelings, regardless of your feelings, regardless of our emotions collectively, the truth is, what are the facts? What is the reality? What's going to stop people from killing each other? And the facts and the stats show that there's no correlation, zero correlation between gun ownership, amount of guns in a state or a city, and gun violence. There's no correlation. There's none. There's zero. You look at a map, there's no correlation. That's science. There's no correlation to how many guns are there and how much gun violence there is. And if every gun was stripped from the United States, people could still kill people very easily. That's just the reality. Like, if you have that type of mindset and you're going to do something very terrible and horrible that's going to ruin your life, ruin other people's lives, and make you a historical loser so everybody can hate you, so you shouldn't do it, because It makes you a scumbag for the whole world to see. But you can get it done without a gun. That's just the reality of the situation. And I don't personally believe in stricter gun laws. I know that's going to be the trendy thing because everything that's trendy makes no sense nowadays. It's like a country full of robots that have no sort of critical thinking and have no capacity to have a real back and forth honest conversation. But that's the reality. So, Second Amendment, very good in the sense of it keeps us from being taken over by a tyrannical government, which we definitely have. I mean, everybody hates Donald Trump. Progressives and, liberals are like, oh, America's never been great. The government's terrible. Donald Trump did everything. Okay, so Donald Trump's the president. Do you want to give all of your power away? Do you want to give all your taxes to Bernie Sanders? Here, take all my money. Here, take all the money I worked for. Here, take 60% of my taxes. Take all my guns. Oh yeah, that sounds brilliant. I'm sure that's going to work out really, really well for the United States of America. Not. Doesn't really make much sense. I'm just being honest. So, Second Amendment I support specifically because I believe it protects us from tyranny, from other invading countries, and also from the United States of America, who has proven time and time again that they cannot be trusted. And you have entities within the government, within politics, within the media, who are literally trying to start a civil war. I mean, it could not be more obvious. They're trying, but they can't do it because united we stand, divided we fall. This is a great country and we're going to get through it. We're not going to have a civil war, but they're trying really bad. You look at NBC, it's 95% negative press, 5% positive press, when they know 60 to 100 plus million people like the President of the United States. They don't try to level with people. They call them deplorables. They call them losers. They call them racists. They call them Uncle Toms. The whole election. They called everybody losers that didn't like Hillary Clinton. They tried this all election. Now they're doubling down. You have NBC, CNN, Huffington Post, Newsweek, pretty much everybody besides Fox News. They don't push the truth. They don't push communication. They don't push dialogue. They don't try to take the good parts of conservatism and take the bad parts from the Republican Party and push them out. They don't do that. They're nonstop just blasting negative energy, hate, fear, division, misinformation to the entire world. And these are the people that are begging for gun control. So no, get the F out. You're not going to get it until you become more trustworthy and become more honest. That's how I feel. That's how hundreds of Americans feel. Everybody's not racist, sexist, and xenophobic. Some people just aren't programmed by the media. And some people have PhDs and great friends and a liberal mindset, and they are programmed by the media, and that's fine. And if you don't feel like this, that's fine too, but have a conversation. When an event happens, it's not an emotional outburst, and everyone has to listen to you because of your feelings. That's not how it works. You have to listen to facts, because facts matter probably more than feelings. Anyone can feel a certain way. Doesn't make it true. That's just the reality. And as far as this attack, let's get to the bottom of what actually happened before we start pushing all of this legislation and politics, which is going to do nothing. People have to be better to people. I see everywhere. That's why I'm not surprised when politicians do something crazy. That's why I'm not surprised when other people do something crazy, because I see it every day. There's a lack of consideration everywhere. In every coffee shop, in every business, in every city, in every state, and in every country. There's a lack of consideration. There's a lack of humanity. There's a lack of dialogue. There's a lack of understanding. There's a lack of love. There's a lack of respect in all of us. So how are we going to expect the President of the United States to have all of these things that we don't even have? And that's the problem nowadays, is you got a bunch of hypocrites. Everybody can talk, but no one can do actions. And everybody's worried about what someone says more than what somebody does. Well, guess what? Actions speak louder than words. So the words don't matter anymore. Everyone's talking. No one's doing anything. And that's the society we live in. We demand all of this stuff from the politicians. Give me this. I want this. I want that. I want that. I'm not happy. I'm not this. I deserve this. But we can't even do it ourselves. So that's why the phrase, change yourself to change the world. If everyone was nicer, It wouldn't matter if everyone had 10 million guns, because no one would be killing each other. People are killing each other at high rates with handguns, with knives, all over the world for no effing reason. Over minor debates, or over religion, or over political preference, over nothing. So we have to be the change we want to see in the world. Doesn't matter what we have in our hand or what we have in our house. It matters what we have in our head and what we have in our heart. And that's the realest thing I'm probably going to say this whole talk. So if you take anything from that, please take this. Now on to the Vegas shooter. Let's get down to the bottom of what actually happened before we start pushing all this legislation, because this is a very sketchy situation any way around. I'm not throwing a theory in the air, but let's be honest. At some point, people were brainwashed to not question anything. These type of things, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you don't believe the news. Really? So you do believe the news? You just blindly believe everything they say, even though this year they've been debunked 10, 15, 20 times already for pushing 100% fake articles with no facts or reality in it? That's the mainstream media, the trusted media. They've lied 15, 20 plus times this year and been caught doing it. So you should question everything. You go to a major university, Harvard or Yale or Princeton, they say on their website, they have, hey, welcome to Princeton. You're really smart for getting here. Question everything. That's what this whole university is about. That's what they say at Ivy League schools. They say question everything. So if you're not questioning things, you're not a genius. You're a pawn. You're a robot. You might as well be a computer. So the whole conspiracy theory thing in the first off was a term created and coined to control people and get them to not think. That's what being intelligent is. That's what being a human is. It's thinking, it's learning, it's, looking for the facts instead of just screaming emotions. That's what it's about. So let's look at this situation. It's sketchy. This man was a multimillionaire, had multiple planes, was in the hotel for multiple days. So I would love to see the footage from the hotel, because he had like 10 assault rifles, multiple windows smashed out, saying he used, had ridiculous amounts, like a huge arsenal, and he did it by himself with one, 40 or 60-year-old female accomplice. I mean, can we question it? Can we wait for at least authorities to come out with the full story before we start ramming gun control down people's throats? Because my question is, what's going on? Because these type of weapons that he was using, they're nearly impossible for regular people to get. The only people that are allowed to purchase them easily are government agencies. And that's not me speculating. That's me reading a fact that is published for everyone to see, is that those are the people that are allowed to get those type of guns. So one man in his 60s, a multi-millionaire, with multiple planes and real estate, just randomly decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to stock up with all the weapons in the world, and most of them that are probably not even legal, stuff that he would probably have to get on the black market or through back channels anyway. I know the big story is, he purchased it from somewhere in Las Vegas, and maybe that's true, but regardless, you could do more research about that. I haven't been able to really dive deep into the story, nor do I really want to. I'm trying to be patient about it, but there's a lot of stuff not adding up. There's 2 windows smashed out, so that means he had to smash out one of his suite windows, smash out the other suite window, shoot from there, go to the other one, shoot from there. It's a lot of work for one person. During the police reports and the scanners, there were multiple reports saying that there were multiple shooters. A lot of the videos you can hear possibly multiple shooters. There's videos of a lower level window being shot out of, or at least seemingly so. I'm not saying 100% for sure. I'm not here screaming conspiracy theory. I'm here screaming this needs to be further investigated by authorities to figure out what really happened before we start screaming all of our emotions and trying to take other people's guns away. Because this was one man, one terrorist, one whatever you want to call him, who cares, doing all of this stuff, and they said he has no political bias or no religious bias. Like, this guy was just like silly putty, this guy was just like Plato. Like, he's like, oh, I have no political views whatsoever, I have no religious views, I'm just like a guy. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but something about this seems pretty sketchy. It's like, no, just move on with your life. Biggest mass shooting in U.S. history. 65-year-old guy, multimillionaire with planes and real estate. No religious affiliation, no political affiliation, just randomly shot up a country concert in the midst of, the entire mainstream media trying to convince the whole world that conservatives and Republicans and Trump supporters and people with an open mind are neo-Nazis and white supremacists. You have literal ESPN anchors saying that the president is a white supremacist, and that's being promoted. You have people kneeling for the national anthem. You have CBS executives getting fired for saying, hey, you know what? I'm not even mad at what happened in Las Vegas because those were probably a bunch of gun-toting Republicans. That happened. A CBS executive or vice president got fired for being a disgusting human being. So I'm supposed to believe that, in the midst of all this 95% negative press, in the midst of all this, every conservative or anybody that has common sense is a neo-Nazi white supremacist, and it's just a 65-year-old random multimillionaire, with 50 guns. I mean, something is sketchy about this. Even if the story is exactly as we've heard, it's still pretty sketchy. No religious affiliation, no political affiliation. Just decided, F it. I'm going to shoot up a country concert and commit one of the deadliest crimes in, U.S. domestic history. So, to sum this whole video up, Second Amendment. Is gun control going to save lives? Talked about it earlier. Is the Second Amendment good for stopping against government tyranny? And what the F actually happened in Las Vegas? That's the theme of this. Change ourselves to change the world. As always, good energy. God bless everybody. Most importantly, every collective thought and action that we have as people can change the world. So let's focus on ourselves. Let's focus on our families, our friends, our communities, and change that before we go finger pointing at other people. I think that's the most important. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you would like to donate, the link is in the title. I'm going to try it like that. And also it's going to be in the comment section. I appreciate so much your contributions. It helps me to be able to do this. And it's been amazing. I don't need that much, just enough to keep this operating. I'm about to start a podcast. I'm about to launch a clothing line this week and a news network as well. So very exciting times. I'm going all in now. 24/7. I'm nonstop trying to really grind when I'm not relaxing or, working out, playing sports. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you more than you know. God bless America. God bless Las Vegas. God bless the world. God bless humanity, and God bless the universe. Thank you.